Greetings everyone, and welcome to Batocera Nation. I'm so delighted that you could join us today. Our tutorial today is going to be centered on our installation guide for Batocera. In fact, we're going to specifically focus on Batocera 32. Nonetheless, from this point forward, this will be my default installation guide for all future versions of Batocera, i.e. Batocera 32, Batocera 33, Batocera 34, 35, etc., etc. However, if there are some major changes in the future for Batocera, then I will create a new default installation guide. Furthermore, this installation guide is geared towards newcomers who have never installed Batocera before. If you already have Batocera installed on your system, then there's an easy way to upgrade your Batocera system to the latest version. In fact, let me go ahead and show you that process. Alright, so right now we're in Batocera. Go ahead and press the start button on your gamepad. Go into updates and downloads right here. And then go into update type, okay? Mine right now is set on beta because I tend to test the beta. Make sure it's unstable. And then go ahead and click on start update. Okay, on mine, it's telling me I already have version 32, the beta version of Batocera 32, and it asks me, do I want to actually downgrade to Batocera 31? Of course not. On yours, it's going to say, do you want to upgrade to the latest version of Batocera 32, or 33, or 34, and you would say yes. You click on that, and then that will begin the download process, all right? Now then, if you're wondering about the latest BIOS files, let me go ahead and show you where you can download those new BIOS files for this particular version of Batocera. Alright, so we're back on our desktop and we're at this particular website, archive.org, which is the Internet Archive. And for those of you who don't know, it's a nonprofit library of millions of books, movies, software, music, websites, and etc. Okay, they've been around for 25 years. So if you want to locate the latest BIOS files for Batocera, then just go ahead and type Batocera. In this case, we want to look for 32, version 32 BIOS. Okay. In the future, if you want to locate version 33, you do that. Version 34, 35. Okay. But for the time being, we want version 32. And from there, just go ahead and hit enter or press the go button. And that will pull up this particular zip file, Batocera 32 BIOS. Okay. You can see there's a zip. There's also a torrent for it. I can go into show all and go into view contents on the zip file, and it will show you all the files that it has. Okay, these BIOS files are absolutely essential for some of the consoles that you want to play in Batocera. So you're going to have to go ahead and download it. You can download it by, again, go to the torrent, the zip. You can also go here and it will download. Okay, so just go ahead and download it. I'm going to put this on my desktop. All right. And now we can proceed with our installation guide. So let's go back to the home page for Batocera.org. Here you always will find the latest version of Batocera. Right now it says Batocera 31, but by the time this video comes out, you'll see Batocera 32. If you want to find out what's the latest additions and features that have been added to Batocera, then just go ahead and click on the change log, and it's going to look something like this. Okay, again, by the time you see this, you'll see Batocera 32. Now then, if you want to know what are the new changes and features that have been added to Batocera since the last version, turns out I always will have a video. Okay, either I'll say what's new about Batocera 32, 33, 34, 35. And in that video, I will show you all the different features and additions and emulators that have been added to Batocera since the last version. So look for that video. I will have a link of this video in the video description. Okay, so look for it. Let's go back. And let's go ahead and click on Get Batocera. Click on that. That's going to pull up this particular page. Okay, and this will allow you to download Batocera based upon the system or unit or board that you have. This right here is for 64-bit computers. Okay, you can download this right here or this right here. Both of these are the same. There's also a version for Apple laptops or computers. And then there's also versions for a number of popular handheld consoles out there. This right here, Gameforce, it's the latest addition to Batocera 32. Some of these handheld consoles are really popular. You can do some research on them to determine whether you want to go ahead and purchase one so you can install Batocera on one of these handheld consoles. Okay. Then, of course, you can also install Batocera on the Pi 0 all the way to Pi 4B and any other future Pi that comes in the future as well. And these are really popular among Batocerans. They love installing Batocera on the Pi. And of course, one of the latest additions is Pi 400. I've got one of these and I was really impressed by how much you can do with Batocera on this particular unit. In fact, in the future, I plan to do tutorials on the Pi 400. So look for those tutorials that are coming up real soon. Then you also can install Batocera on all droids from the C2, XU3, XU4, Android N2, Android N2 Plus, and Android C4. Okay, these two are very popular, and the Android comes from South Korea. Then you can also install Batocera on a number of rack chip boards, okay, including these right here. Then there's also a number of really popular Android boxes that you will see on Amazon. A lot of them tend to use the Amlogic S905 or the S905X. If you have an Android box that uses the Amlogic S922X, turns out that you can go ahead and download this right here, the Android N2 Plus, because it uses the same chip, the Amlogic S922X. Okay, so just go ahead and download that. You can install that on your Android TV box. Okay, it can also be installed on an Orange Pi PC as well. And finally, if you have a really old computer, 15 years or more, that's non-64-bit, it's a 32-bit computer, you can also install Batocera on that particular system. Although I don't recommend this because you'll be limited in terms of what consoles you can ultimately run on that Batocera system. If you have a 64-bit computer, do not install this version of Batocera. Just go ahead and download and install the 64-bit version of Batocera. This one or this one. Again, these two are the same. Our next step is that we have to download this application or this piece of software or app named Balena Etcher. Okay, so go ahead and click on that. I'm going to put that on my desktop as well. Okay, save that. All right, let's go ahead and minimize this. Before we use Balena, let's go ahead and first unzip the Batocera 32 BIOS files. Okay, always have those unzipped. Okay, just unzip it. I got those already unzipped, and this is how they look. We're going to have to copy all this into Batocera. Go ahead and close that out. Now we can proceed with Balena Etcher. Now then, to install the Batocera image, you're going to need either a thumb drive, an external portable hard drive, or an external SSD drive. Now, I highly recommend among the three that you use external portable SSD drive because it's so much faster and you probably run into less complications. Okay, I particularly have these two. I have this one right here, it's 500 gigabyte, the slower version, which is about $60 on Amazon. And I also have this one, also 500 gigabyte. It's a little bit faster for $87.99. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm going to be using this one. All right, to install my Batocera image. Oh, and by the way, there's my drive. It has to be empty, completely empty. Okay, I will format it in the NTFS format. Okay, and then go ahead and run Balena Etcher. Okay, you get this question, ignore it. Just go ahead and click on run, and then you agree, and then let it do its thing. All right, flash from file. Okay, I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where my image is at. Batocera 32. I'll go ahead and click on that. And the target, and that is the actual SSD drive. And so I only have one right here. Click on that. And then select. And then flash. Okay, and then you'll get this error message, okay? It wants to make sure that you pick the right drive to install Batocera on. And since this is a 500 gigabyte drive, it wants to make sure that you pick the right one. In this case, I know it is the right one. So I go ahead and click on yes, I'm sure. Then it begins to do its thing, okay? If you have a thumb drive, it's going to be a lot slower than this, okay? This runs pretty fast because, again, it's an SSD drive. All right, once it's done, then the next step we'll do is we'll try to validate everything just to make sure everything is fine. Let it do its thing as well. All right, so it's done, okay? So it's complete. Everything worked out well. If you get an error message, then go ahead and repeat the process again. Or you may want to pick a different thumb drive or hard drive because it might repeat the same error message. Okay, in my case, everything worked out really well. Everything was smooth. Now then, if you don't have a NVIDIA card in your Batocera system, then you can go ahead and unplug your Batocera drive. If you do have an NVIDIA card for your Batocera system, then I highly recommend that you watch this video, how to set up an NVIDIA card in Batocera. This is also found in our channel. I will leave a link in my video description because this is a really important step you need to do. Otherwise, your Batocera system will not recognize your NVIDIA card, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and proceed with the next step. All right then, now that we have already created our Batocera image and we have already downloaded our BIOS and have those unzipped, now it's time for us to get some games, some retro games. And you may already have a collection of retro games. However, if by any chance you don't have a collection of retro games, you don't know where to find them, then let's go ahead and go back to this particular site, Internet Archive, archive.org. I think this is the internet's best kept secret. You can find, again, anything and everything here, okay? So let's say, for example, it's a particular console you want. Let's say you want the Sega Genesis. Let's type Sega Genesis Collection, okay? And then click on Go, okay? And that will pull up a number of hits, okay? Besides that approach, you can also try this approach. Type this, Ghostware. Okay, after you type Ghostware, go ahead and press Go, and that will pull up a number of collections from this particular user, Ghostware. He's got a bunch of them out there from retro consoles. Besides Ghostware, we also have Champion Collection. And he too has a number of collections that he has really worked hard on. So again, that's another collection that you can look into. And finally, we have the final one is this one. It's software capsules compilation. Okay. Hit go. And that will pull up this particular collection. Click on that and you'll find a whole bunch of retro consoles out there as well. Okay. So I would stick with those three. And that's all I can share about this particular subject. I can't get into more details, but that should give you enough information to find what you're looking for. All right, so once you've got your game collections already set up, you got your BIOS files already set up, and go ahead and copy that into a portable hard drive. Here's where I got my BIOS, and I've got my games right here, okay? Just copy it there. There's another way you can copy all your files. You can do that through your network, okay? If you want to do it through your network, this is probably faster and even easier to do that. I have a video tutorial that shows you how you can do that. If you have a Batocera system plus a laptop or another PC, you can transfer from one computer to your Batocera system, okay? If you only have one PC or one laptop, then just go ahead and use the portable hard drive method, okay? But I will be providing a direct link in my video description, so look for that if you have two PCs or a laptop and a PC and you want to use your network to copy your games or your BIOS and everything else for that matter. Now then, before you actually boot up your Batocera system, you're going to need something really important. You're going to need to determine what keys you need to press on your computer or your laptop that will load you to your BIOS setup. So for example, let's say you have an HP computer, a laptop, right? Just BIOS key. Type HP BIOS key, okay? And that will normally would tell you which key you need to press. In this case, it's telling me I need to press the F10 key. Let's try Acer BIOS key. And this tells me I need to press the F2 key. So again, every computer, laptop, or mini computer will have a certain key that you need to press as soon as it boots up so you can go into your BIOS. So determine that first before you proceed with anything else. Once you know what it is, then we can now proceed with booting up Batocera for the very first time. Alright, so on this particular computer, if I press F2 or F11, it will give me the option to boot from whatever drive I want to boot from. So in this example, I press F11 and it gave me this little menu. Okay, so this is the internal OS. And this one is a portable hard drive. So this is the one I want to boot it from. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the other method as well. Okay, so this is the other method to boot. Okay, so from there, look for one that says, on one of the tabs, look for one that says boot. And you can see that boot option 1 and boot option 2. Once again, boot option 2 is the internal hard drive OS. I want the portable one, SanDisk Extreme. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select this one. Select it, and then go ahead and save it. Usually it's F10. Yes, and let it load up. In this particular example, I have a NUC computer, so for this one I had to press F10 to get into the boot menu. So there's my internal hard drive, which I don't want to load up. And notice there I got 2 there. I want the boot drive. Okay, so go ahead and select that one. This is the first step it does when it first boots up. If you have a slow thumb drive, it will take a while before it completes that. But since I have an SSD drive, it does it rather fast. But you need to be patient because it has to resize the partitions, has to resize your hard drive as well. Okay. Well, congratulations, you have successfully booted Batocera for the very first time. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to try to configure a Gamepad controller. So you're going to need a keyboard attached to your Batocera system, preferably a USB, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and press my spacebar keyboard, and from there I'm going to choose Controllers and Bluetooth Settings, hit Enter, and from there going to pair a Bluetooth device. I'm holding in my hands an Xbox One S controller. So I'm going to go ahead and press the buttons searching for a Bluetooth device. Alright, hit enter there, and now it's scanning. It looks like it's found it and it's trying to pair with it. Give it a few seconds or so. Okay, it found it. Alright, so the buttons seem to be working. Okay, I believe that everything is configured automatically to work fine. But let's say, for example, you need to change the buttons around, or the buttons don't work well with your Gamepad controller. So at that point, go ahead and come over here, configure a controller, hit enter, and I'm going to hold a button, hold the A button. It found the Gamepad controller, and from there, go ahead and configure your Gamepad controller. Up, down, left, right, start, select A, B, X, Y, up, left, L1, R1, L2, R2, L3, R3. And the hotkey is going to be my Xbox button. And there we go. We're good. And from there, we're good. Now, let's say, for example, let's go back and press the start button. And let's say, for example, you have still trouble with your Gamepad controller and things are just not working well. So in that case, go ahead and select this. Forget Bluetooth device. Select the controller you're having a problem with and go ahead and remove it, okay? And then repeat the process again. So here at the bottom, you have control activity. You can have it on, you can have it off. You see there on the top left-hand side of the screen, there's on and there's off. And if you have it on, it also will show you the battery level of your Gamepad controller, okay? So I like to have it on. All right. Now, in terms of the Gamepad controls that you can use for Batocera, there's a number of them that you can use. So, in fact, let's go ahead and get out of Batocera. Let's go back to my desktop. I'm going to show you the different types of controls that you can use for Batocera. Once again, we're back on desktop, and Batocera.org has a wiki page as well. It's wiki.batocera.org, okay? And there you have a whole bunch of information you can click on. So let's go ahead and click on controllers, and that will pull up this page, okay? And this will tell you all the different gamepads or controls that you can use for Batocera. It turns out that you can use practically almost any Bluetooth controller that you've got. However, your dongle or your Bluetooth controller may not be supported in Linux. And if that's the case, it may not work in Batocera. So I would highly recommend and suggest that you stick with one of the standard controllers that I mentioned here. Okay, so let's look at them. All right, so we have 8-bit DOE controllers, and these are really popular, and I've tried several of them. They all seem to work quite well without any trouble. Just make sure that you switch it to the X input mode. Okay, you can also switch it to the switch mode as well if you want to, but I normally stick with the X input mode. All right. Then you can also use PS3 pads, PS4 pads, PS5 controllers as well. Then you also have the Xbox One controllers that you can also use. You can use the original one, but you'll also need a dongle for that. Or you can use the Xbox One S controller, which does not need a dongle because it has Bluetooth already built in. And in fact, among the different controllers out here, I kind of like this one the best because it's really easy to use and it's not much of a hassle to set it up. All right. You can also use the Xbox 360 controller with the dongle as well. All right. That also works really well. I've used that as well without any trouble. You can also use Wii pads. Right. You can also use the Switch pads as well. And then there's also X Arcade Tank Stick that you can use. Dolphin Bar for light gun games. And I will be doing a tutorial how to set all this up because I've been getting a lot of requests for this. As soon as I'm done with the emulators, I'm going to work on this tutorial as well. And they recommend that you use a Mayflash wireless sensor for the Dolphin Bar. Okay. You can also use original Super Nintendo and Nintendo pads as well. And finally, you can also use this. That can be used in a Pi 2, Pi 3, or Pi 4. So again, among all the controllers out there, I highly recommend that you stick with one of the standard controllers that I mentioned here on this page. I will be linking the page on my video description as well. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to Batocera system. Let's get things up and running. We're back in Batocera, and we now need to have a discussion about video and audio output. If you're running Batocera on a regular PC, usually the audio and video output works automatically without any type of input on your own part. However, if you're running Batocera on a laptop, and that laptop is connected to a TV or a monitor, sometimes the audio and visual output doesn't work automatically. So you have to go in there manually to fix it. So in this situation, I've got this running on the laptop. So I go into System Settings, space bar or the stop button, go into System Settings, and then go into Video Output. Okay, it was set automatically on auto. So because I've got this connected to a monitor, I had to select this one. And then finally, it outputted to the monitor. And then for audio output, again, set to auto by default. I have to choose one of these two. This one makes the most sense. Go ahead and select that one. Okay. And then just hit escape, and you see there that it worked. Okay, you can also create a profile so it can save it. In case it's not saving it, just go ahead and create a profile right here. Audio profile for the one you want. This one right there would be my audio profile, and I'll save it. Okay, if that doesn't work, try different ones. Find one that works and then save it. Select the one you want, and it automatically will save the audio profile. In this case, I don't need to save the audio profile because when I rebooted it, it worked automatically. We also have here screen rotation. This is a feature that a lot of you have been asking about, especially those who've got arcade cabinets. Now we have that option. Select it. You got left rotation, right rotation, inverted rotation. Let's just try it out. You see that? It worked. Go back into settings and screen rotation. Kind of tricky to look at that. Let's go to right rotation. Escape. It should do it right. And there's right. And go back to system settings and right there. invert it. All right, upside down. And finally, let's go back to system settings. And right there. Go back to auto. That should work. Okay? All right, so those are for the vertical games you may have from the arcade systems. One last thing about audio. Let's say you try different things and nothing seems to work. Then in that case, go ahead, go back into the main menu, go into Kodi Media Center, hit enter, and then go back to the top right here. This is settings. Select that. And then you can hear the audio right there. It's working. But in case it doesn't work, go to system, go to audio, and from there, select usually this one, pipe wired media server, okay? Or one of these different ones. If that doesn't work, then try one of the other ones, okay? But this is a new feature been added to Batocera 32, and this one seems to resolve a lot of problems that people are having with audio on the Batocera system. So make sure you select that one, and then you can get out of it. Hit escape several times until you get to the main menu right here, and then go into there, hit enter, and then exit the Batocera. Okay, that also seems to resolve audio problems that people may have with the Batocera system. And the next thing that we need to do, we need to copy our game files and the BIOS files into the Batocera system. Once again, I have a keyboard attached to my Batocera system. Go ahead and press F1. And there you see there my hard drive, my portable hard drive. Now, it's a good idea to plug in your portable hard drive after your Batocera system has loaded, because sometimes, for some reason, it doesn't see it if you plug it in before you turn on your Batocera system, okay? Also, this button right here will help you to unplug if you need to unplug it. All right, so mine's already plugged up, and here's my files, okay? This is stuff we downloaded earlier. So go ahead and select everything there. Control A, select everything. Control C to copy everything. And then go into your share folder right here. Okay? You can see some of the files are there. Go ahead and paste everything. It's going to ask you, do you want to overwrite everything? Yes. And overwrite everything. And click on that. And it'll copy everything for you. Okay? That was quick. Let's go here. You can see there, it copied everything successfully. All right. Next thing we want to do, we wanted to copy some games. Okay. So I've got all this here. I'm not going to copy all that. It'll take a while. So I'm just going to focus on the Mega Drive, on the Sega Genesis. Oh, and by the way, let's go back to this folder right here, and let's go to the Mega Drive folder. Right here. Notice here, you've got an info text. Every console folder will have an info text, and that will let you know what extension of the files it will accept. So for the Sega Genesis or the Sega Mega Drive, it will accept any game file that has this as an extension, either BEN, GEN, MD, SG, SMD, ZIP, or 7Z. Okay, so any of these extensions will work fine. All right, go ahead and close that out. And go ahead and copy stuff now. Go back to my portable hard drive. Go into this folder right here, Mega Drive, and I'm gonna just go ahead and select it right here and copy everything. Copy, and go back over here, and Mega Drive, right there, paste it. It's gonna ask me if I want to overwrite everything. Yes, I do. Overwrite. And make sure everything's fine. And there it is. All right. So then go into File and close Window. All right. Now I'm back with my Gamepad here. And let's look for Sega Genesis. All right. You can see that it says I only have one game. And that's the only one I have, supposedly, right? But I already copied some stuff. Well, in order to fix that, every single time you copy games into the folders, you have to do this step. Press Start on your Gamepad. Go into Game Settings. And then click on this, Update Games List. Every single time. If you don't do this, you won't see your games you copy into your Batocera system. For every single console, you got to do that. You can see there I've got images already and video as well. These have already been pre-scraped. I'm going to show you how to do that a little bit later on. But first thing is first. So let's go ahead and on the gamepad select the back button or the select button and then go into game list view style. From there you can choose a different one. Let me just show you grid. That's the grid. The box has already been pre-scraped. Okay. Looks pretty good. Let's go back into the select button again and go into game list view style. Let's say I want detail. And there's detail right there. The videos will play. Notice there's no audio on the video. That's because I turned it off. Press start, go into sound settings, and you can turn off the music, which I did. If you don't turn it off, in fact, when you first boots up, you'll hear the music. I already turned it off, but you can leave it on or off. It depends upon what you want. And there's the navigation sounds, and there's the video audio. Okay, I turned it off for the video tutorial. Normally I have it on. All right. So you can see there, that's the detail view. Now, let's go into a different view. Let's go into game carousel. Okay. Looks nice, doesn't it? And the video also will play as well. All right. Let's take another view. Let's go ahead and pick boxes. And those are the boxes. You can even select how many boxes you want. Default grid. Let's say you want it 4x7. 4x7. And there's 4x7, right? Too small. I really can't see anything there. Okay, go back in there. Select. There, 3x4. Okay. And go back in there. And I'm going to go ahead and put it back to automatic. All right. I like that. All right. Let's go back into game list view style. Let's select tiles. Those are the tiles right there. All right. Which I don't like that at all. And icons. Icons right there. Smaller version of the tiles. I don't like that either. So of all these, I kind of like the game carousel the best. And there it is. All right. Looks good. Now, let's get out of this. The next thing we need to do, we need to set the Wi-Fi settings. So go ahead and press start on Gamepad. Go into network settings. And go ahead and select enable Wi-Fi. Select that. Go into Wi-Fi SSID. And right now I didn't find anything. Select refresh. It didn't find anything either. All right. So when that happens, for the very first time, we first boot it up, for the very first time, sometimes it doesn't find it. If it doesn't find it, make sure that this is on. Reboot the Batocera system, and I'll see it this time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll come right back. All right, so I've already rebooted my Batocera system. I'm going to go back into my start button on my gamepad, go back into network settings, and go back to Wi-Fi SSID. And this time you can see there, it found it. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and pick this one. And then from there, go into the Wi-Fi key, select that, and then enter your key. Hit enter. Back out of there. I'll say Wi-Fi enable. If it worked, you see there on the top right hand side of the screen, you'll see the Wi-Fi icon on. That means that it's worked. Okay. If you don't see that, it probably means it hasn't worked. You got to go back to make sure that the key you enter is correct. All right. So there we are done with that. All right. So now the next thing I want to show you is the UI settings, okay? You can choose different themes for your Batocera system. This is the default theme that comes with Batocera when you first boot it up. You can actually get more. Right now there's only one right there, but we can get more. To get more, get out of there and go into updates and downloads, okay? Go into themes. And there you can see there's a number of them right there, okay? So select what you want. Let's say I want that one. Select it and just hit install. And then it will begin the installation process. Depending upon the theme, some themes are rather large files in terms of the size of the files, and so it might take longer. Other themes don't require that much of a download, but you need to be patient while it's downloading. In fact, you can download several themes at one time, and it'll go through all of them all. Let's say I want to download I want to download that one. Go ahead and select it and press install. And you can see they're downloading one of two. Okay? So after it downloads, then we can apply these themes into a Batocera system. I'm going to fast forward this section right here. Okay, so these themes have already downloaded. And let's get out of this and go back to UI settings. And then from there, select theme set. And from there you can pick the one you want, okay? So let's choose that one for example. You can see there, and there it is. Go back in there, UI settings, pick the other one, and back out of there. In fact, you know what? Let me go ahead and give you a demonstration of the different themes out there. I've got some themes already downloaded in my other Batocera system, the one I use for testing and for gaming. So I'm going to go ahead and boot that one up, and I'll give you a little sample of what these themes are all about, how cool they look. Alright, so our main Batocera system has loaded up, and it's running on a Ryzen 7 4800U. It's a mini ASRock mini computer, okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and go into our UI settings, so I can give you a little demonstration of different themes that you can use for Batocera. Alright, let me go ahead and start off with Batocera Club Reloaded. This is one of my favorite ones. I'm not going to do much talk. I'm going to let the themes speak for themselves.
I wish you were here now, Quincy. You were all...
Riot. This is it, guys. Engage. Target ahead.
Rebel. Peggy 7. Rebel fighters ahead. Peggy 7.
You were here now, Quincy. You were always there for me when I needed you.
Oh, Sega!
Stay low with the turn. Stay low with the turn.
He is called.
Alright, so that should give you a good demonstration of what the different themes consist of. And you can see that visually absolutely appealing and wonderful and beautiful, okay? And you have selection from which you can choose from. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that some of the consoles have already been scraped in terms of the cover art we see right there, the videos, as well as the game description. If you want to know how to do that, let me go ahead right now, move over to my desktop. And I've got 3 video tutorials that will teach you 3 different scraping techniques that you can use to get the best scraping possible for your consoles, okay? So let's head over to our desktop so I can show you. So we are back on our desktop. Let's go ahead and show you the different tutorials I've created. This is actually the very first one I've created, okay? It's called Scraping Tips for Batocera. I'll leave a link in my video description. So this teaches you the different tips you can use with the built-in scraper that's found in Batocera, okay? So you may want to follow that one first. And then I also have these other tutorials I created. This one uses a specific app or tool that allows you to scrape. It'll give you better results than the built-in scraper that's found in Batocera. This one here is much easier to use, okay? It's called Scraper. And I tell you in the video where you can download the app as well, okay? And finally, we've got this other scraper called ARM. This one's a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit more complex. However, this one gives you the best results because it gives you more flexibility. You can choose your own cover art. You can choose your own video. If you already have a collection, let's say you've used Launchbox, you can copy stuff from Launchbox and put it in here, and then, of course, load that up in Batocera. So, again, it's a little more difficult, but it's the best one in terms of the results you'll get for your scraping needs. Again, I will leave a link for all 3 tutorials, all right? One last thing. When I created my first installation tutorial for Batocera, I also created this tutorial as well, configuring the emulators. Consider this part 2 to the installation process, and it's only 13 minutes long. So I will highly encourage you to watch this video next, and I will be providing a link in my video description. So watch this tutorial next for those of you who are newcomers, because that will give you a great overview of how to set up all the different emulators in Batocera. Now, the only thing that has changed in this video, under the old method of bringing up the context menu for the emulators, you had to press the select button on your gamepad. That is no longer true. Instead, what you need to do is hold down the A button or the B button, and that will pull up this context menu that you see on the screen. So again, it's no longer by pressing the select button. So make sure you hold down the A button or the B button, depending on how you got your gamepad configured, to pull up this context menu. All right. So again, highly encourage you to watch this before you start looking at the individual emulators themselves in Batocera. All right. Okay, so that is a wrap. If you found this video useful, please go ahead and like it. That would really help me out with the YouTube algorithms. If this is your first time watching Batocera Nation, or you're new to Batocera and you're curious about Batocera, then I will highly encourage you to come to our website at batoceranation.com. So we have a home section here which always will give you our latest video and our most popular video. We also have a newcomer section which will give you a great overview of what Batocera is all about and whether Batocera is something that you would enjoy using for your retro gaming needs. I happen to think it's an awesome operating system designed exclusively for retro gaming, and now even for Steam. And you may think to yourself, well, you're biased. Well, it turns out I'm not one of the developers for Batocera. I started out as a regular user, a fan of Batocera, and I thought to myself, you know what? The world needs to know more about Batocera. That's the reason why I created this channel, and that's the reason why I created this website, to let others know this awesome operating system for retro gaming and Steam. We also have a console section, and these are all the different consoles tutorials I've already created for Batocera, and there's more to come, but it's all listed in alphabetical order, and it's much easier to find what you're looking for on this particular page than using the YouTube channel to try to locate the console that you want to know more about emulation. Okay, there's also a section here for other systems, which will include MAME, Atomic Wave, Naomi, CP System, Daphne, MS-DOS, Windows, and we also have here a section for Steam as well, and Steam Link. Okay, and there's more to come. We also have here a section for all the different emulators that will work for a particular system, including for the PC system, as well as other boards out there that support Batocera. I also have here a section for useful tips, and this will help you to get the most out of your Batocera system. Absolutely essential for Batocera, all right? And we also have here a section for reviews. These two systems here are the ones I used to test and install Batocera on. And I don't have a big gaming rig. I just use these two. And it's portable, it's fast, and it doesn't take that much space in your living room. So highly recommend these two. I've done reviews on these two, testing the different emulators as well. So check that out if you have not seen that. And finally, I have a download section. Based upon the tutorials I've done, I've included free downloads for you to use. Okay, the most latest is the HD texture packs for Nintendo 64. Again, all this stuff is free. All right. Finally, if you are not a subscriber, you might want to consider subscribing. I've got a lot more tutorials coming up, including the new material for Batocera 32, as well as the old emulators I've not yet covered in Batocera. So you don't want to miss those videos. In either case, thank you so much for watching Batocera Nation. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.